Hey, it's Bunnysmacker, and today I'll be going over some of the Zelda games I have no plans on replaying probably ever again in my life. The Zelda series is as old as I am, as it started back in 1986 on the NES. It is still my favorite gaming franchise, and most likely always will be. But like anything that's 38 years old, there's going to be some missteps. While I don't think there's a bad video game in the series, there are certainly some I don't love. So with that out of the way, let's get into the top 5 Legend of Zelda games I never replay. Number 5. The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks for the Nintendo DS released in 2009. The dungeon design is solid, but is hindered with the game mechanic moving the Zelda-possessed Darknut around to do puzzles. Oh yeah, Zelda is dead by the way, so that's fun. The game being literally on rails makes it far and away my least favorite overworld map in the entire series. Nothing holds a candle to how annoying playing the flute by actually blowing into the DS microphone may be the most buggy gimmick Nintendo ever came up with. Feel free to tell me how I'm wrong in the comments, because frankly I don't have much else to say about this one. I barely remember much about it as I played it once back in 2009 and haven't really thought about it since. Well, until I made this list. Perhaps when I go back to it at 50 years old or whenever time that men seem to get really into trains for some reason, I'll appreciate it more. Number 4. Coming in at number 4 on the list is The Legend of Zelda II, The Adventures of Link, for the Nintendo Entertainment System. When Shigeru Miyamoto was asked if he ever made a bad game in an interview, he was quoted, "I wouldn't say that I ever made a bad game, per se, but a game I think we could have done more with was Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link." So that should tell you that this game has a few too many ideas, and it can't handle all of them. From the random battles, experience grinding, awkward platforming, and most egregious of all, the only Zelda game with lives. I don't necessarily hate this game, and I'm glad I played it and beat it via the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition on the Nintendo GameCube way back in 2003. NES sequels did tend to deviate and innovate on the predecessor, only to go back to formula for the third in their respected series. Castlevania and Super Mario Bros. Spring to mind specifically. Most of the RPG elements in Zelda 2 would never make a return to the series, making this an interesting outlier, but one I have no desire to return to. At least we have it to thank for some of Link's moveset in Super Smash Bros. Number 3. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword seems to have had a redemption arc thanks to the HD remaster for the Nintendo Switch. It's not a bad game by any means. It might even have the best dungeon in the entire series, with the Lanayru mining facility. If you like story and want to see Zelda and Link actually interact throughout a Legend of Zelda game, this one is for you. That doesn't fix the issues I have with Skyward Sword. Fighting the imprisoned 3 times is obvious and needless padding. Fee in picking up items is constantly stopping the game in favor of an in-game pop-up window of text, and that is incredibly annoying. The overworld is extremely limited. There are 3 areas you visit often, and whenever I'm not flying in the sky, I'm wondering why I'm doing awkward platforming instead of using my loft wing to get over a lot of the game's obstacles. Also, during the Greham fights, I felt the Wii motion controls never wanted to cooperate with me. The end boss fight has an epic arena and score, but that doesn't make me want to trudge through all the lows of Skyward Sword just to get to the game's few highs. I've heard this and the motion controls were fixed in the HD remaster at least, so if you play this one yourself, I guess that's the best way to do it. I'm so thankful Nintendo pivoted to Breath of the Wild after this game. I'm not sure I could make it through another Skyward Sword. Number 2. The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Now, I can already see the comment section going off for this pick, as I know it is many people's favorite Zelda game. So, before you dislike the video, at least plan on subscribing and maybe comment about how nice it is to have a different point of view. Anyways, let's get the positives out of the way. For starters, the story is the darkest out of any Zelda game. Only Link's Awakening comes close to feeling as lost and hopeless to this one. Termina is a great location and is very distinctive and memorable. Despite being smaller in scope than the Hyrule in Ocarina of Time, it is brimming with far more personality, especially the town's inhabitants. The looming threat of failure is everywhere within Majora's Mask, from a literal moon slowly falling into Clocktown, to you starting the game cursed to be a Deku Scrub. It really isn't until you try to 100% the game that the annoyances of 3-day time structure really start to bring the whole experience down for me. Any basic quest, it being for a mask, sword upgrade, or heart piece, really just turns into a waiting game. The game having events only taking place on certain days and certain times of the day really begins to try my patience. I think getting the couple's mask is the straw that broke the camel's back. It takes place over the course of 3 days, and while the Sun Song and the Song of Double Time help a lot with that, overall the game really just needs like a watch hand where you can pick a day and a time. I do understand the game came out 24 years ago and was limited to the technology that is the Nintendo 64. But just thinking about waiting around for certain things to take place reminds me how boring just waiting can really be. Tom Petty, rest in peace, was right. The waiting is the hardest part. And with Majora's Mask, it ends up feeling like that's half the game. It really is a shame because some of the best moments in the series are in this game. But at the end of the day, the Razor Sword breaks. So with that, Majora's Mask also breaks my brain when I think about booting it back up. Number 1. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So this one is an anomaly on the list for me. Simply put, I love the memories tied to this one. The Nintendo Wii and Twilight Princess were beyond hyped. After the amazing game that was Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, there was undeserved backlash to the cel-shaded graphics. Nintendo announced the next Zelda game would be graphically similar to the 2000 demo from Space World. They also said it would be closer in tone to Ocarina of Time. So that ends up with me at 6:30 in the morning waiting outside a Target in January because I heard they were getting the scarce Wii in stock that Monday. I was 7th in line, and it was a super cold Michigan morning. I bought the Nintendo Wii, Zelda Twilight Princess, and the Player's Guide. For 2 weeks, I ate, drank, and slept The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I left no stone unturned, no area unexplored, no weird roll goal minigame unbeaten. The score of the game added to the moody feel of the world. Being forced to hunt and dig as Wolfling while being bossed around by the hands down best Zelda companion, Minda, was somehow fun. It still has some of the best items, the ball and chain, double claw shot, and the spinner. Each one is also tied to a great boss fight and great moments. I really don't think they'd ever top the final boss fight of Twilight Princess. They might have with Tears of the Kingdom, but that's a bit spoilery. Overall, this is the one Zelda I don't want to replay because I have so many strong memories, emotions, to the only time I've played it, and I'd like to keep it that way. Besides, it's a long one as far as Zelda is considered. So yeah, I'm Bunnysmacker. That was my top 5 Zelda games I never want to replay. Let me know about yours. Do you have any? Do you replay them all? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button, as they say. Alright, well, I'll see you in the next one. Same bunny time, same bunny channel.